Every dinosaur movie released after 1993 has to live in the shadow of Jurassic Park. There's no way around it. Doesn't matter how much distance a movie tries to put between itself and Spielberg's original, or how different its premise claims to be. I mean, even the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World sequels are constantly compared to Jurassic Park. It's inevitable. Audiences and critics will always measure it against that film, fairly or not, because Jurassic Park set a bar that almost nothing since has cleared. So when the first trailer for The End of Oak Street dropped, I braced for another entry in that long line of dinosaur movies that borrow the imagery and skip the craft. I assumed this would just be a glossy, forgettable, schlocky B-movie that coasts on CGI carnage and paper-thin characters. Surprisingly, that is not remotely what this movie turned out to be. The End of Oak Street might genuinely be the best dinosaur movie since Jurassic Park. I'm not kidding.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Oak Street is a quiet suburban block in 1982. There's block parties, station wagons, and kids on bikes. We follow the Platt family. There's Denise, played by Anne Hathaway, Greg, played by Ewan McGregor, and their two kids, Audrey and Brian, each dealing with their own quiet unhappiness under a pretty normal surface. Then, without any real explanation, and to the film's credit, some kind of cosmic event rips the entire street away from its own time and place and drops it somewhere else. Somewhere with dinosaurs in it. What follows is survival, plain and simple, as the Platts and their neighbors try to make it through a world that very much wants to eat them. A very big chunk of the internet convinced itself that this was secretly a Cloverfield movie. I mean, when you find out that J.J. Abrams is producing, you're kind of like, ah, shit, it's a Cloverfield movie, isn't it? J.J. Abrams, one of the most divisive filmmakers in the industry. Some would say he's a genius. I think most would say he's a hack fraud. He built his entire career around mystery box marketing and stealth franchise connections. So people put two and two together and landed on this being a Cloverfield movie, but thankfully it's not. There's no hidden crossover here. There's no plot twist at the end where Oak Street got teleported to the Cloverfield universe. No, none of that bullshit. It's a standalone story about a family and some dinosaurs. Even the marketing kind of played coy about it for months without confirming or denying anything, which I think almost ruined it because I'm so sick of Cloverfield. It is such a shitty franchise. I already talked about it in its own dedicated video. Go and check that out if you're interested. So I was very relieved that this had nothing to do with Cloverfield. This is its own thing. It did not need to be part of Cloverfield. I'm happy it just exists as a standalone project. Now, David Robert Mitchell is the director here, and I'll admit some bias walking in. I didn't know he had directed this, but I love his work. It Follows is one of the best horror movies of the 2010s. It's a perfect exercise in dread built on a premise so simple, it's almost embarrassing that nobody in the 70s or 1980s thought of it first. Amazing soundtrack by Disaster Piece, by the way. His follow-up, Under the Silver Lake, got a much rockier reception, but I honestly loved it a lot. One of Andrew Garfield's best roles. So going from two modestly budgeted pictures to an $85 million studio dinosaur movie is a massive jump. This is something that can make or break a career, but his voice survived the jump completely intact, and that's the most impressive thing about Oak Street. Before a single dinosaur even shows up, you're just enthralled by everything that's happening. This feels like a Steven Spielberg movie. I need to preface this though, I'm not saying that because of Jurassic Park. I know everyone might want to make that comparison, but let me explain why I'm making the Spielberg comparison beyond just the dinosaur. Moving past even the E.T. type of kids on bicycles thing that's been done to death by Stranger Things and Super 8 and God only knows what else. The filmmaking here is on the same level as Spielberg, and what I mean by that is they like to do the Spielberg oneer a lot in this movie. I think oneers can be a bit annoying in movies where the filmmakers try to draw attention to the fact that, ooh, look, we're keeping the same shot constantly, we're not gonna cut, we're just gonna follow the characters as they do a bunch of bullshit, or we're gonna lock the camera down and everyone's gonna be moving around and you're gonna be so impressed and so wowed by this. I get annoyed by that real quick. I thought 1917 was just a slog to sit through because so much of it was just one shot and it drew attention to the fact that it was one shot. I hate that. It's annoying. Even Birdman, which is a phenomenal movie, gets a bit gimmicky at points because it just draws so much attention to the fact that it's all one shot. But Spielberg always handled that a bit differently, where, for example, the barge scene in Jaws, where they're with the mayor of the town and they're just talking and having a conversation, and you're so drawn to the characters that you really don't even notice that they haven't cut the camera in a hot second. It's more for efficiency than anything else, which I can appreciate. What I'm getting at is, the end of Oak Street does that a lot. There are a lot of times where I was watching this movie and going, oh my god, wait, they haven't cut the camera in like a minute straight, and it's just a basic dialogue scene where nothing crazy is happening and nothing crazy needs to be happening. It's just impressive. It's competent filmmaking. I also love the build-up to seeing a dinosaur for the first time. We really only get glimpses of tails and little bits and pieces here and there, and the movie focuses more on the reactions of the characters, which, again, not to compare this to Jurassic Park, but it's very much like Jurassic Park. I honestly wish that the people that marketed this movie did a better job, because instead of it being very schlocky, they should have maybe embraced that Spielbergian type of aesthetic. I don't know. I think it would have gone a long way, and it would have made me a little bit more excited to see this movie. The film's score by Michael Giacchino was a bit underwhelming, I will say. I was honestly, in retrospect, wishing that they got Disaster Piece back to score this, because it just kind of seemed very generic. Now, I've said before on this channel that I'm not really a huge paleo nerd. I grew up loving dinosaurs, but that's about as far as it goes. I had little dinosaur toys as a kid, and I played with them, but I don't know, I couldn't tell you the difference between a pterodon and a pterodactyl. Frankly, I don't care. But what I will say is that in this movie, I loved how we got to see more than just a velociraptor and a T-Rex attacking people. I think most movies that center around dinosaurs just focus on velociraptors and T-Rexes, and that's it. Instead here, there's a lot of diversity. You get the Titanoboa, which was fucking freaky. Oh my god. There's a Stegosaurus. There's an Ankylosaur, which is a really brutal scene that happened with a baby Ankylosaur that I was like, it made me jump in my seat. It was fantastic. There's like these little like alligator things that were like so freaky looking. It was cool. There's probably going to be some dorks out there that are pretty mad that this was pulling from different geological eras. I don't care, because this is a science fiction movie, so I'm fine if it borrows from Cretaceous and Jurassic and whatever else. Like, I don't mind that at all. It's actually kind of fun. I'm willing to sort of suspend my disbelief a bit when there's dinosaurs rampaging through a subdivision. You know, like that kind of, I'm okay with there not being as much accuracy there. It's fine. Pretty cool too, by the way, seeing the dinosaurs have feathers on them. I know that was a thing that a lot of people rip on Jurassic World for not having feathers on the dinosaurs, but I like it a lot here. I think it adds to the horror. They look very uncanny. There's something about the feathers that make it even scarier. I don't know. It's gross looking. There's a lot of really great short films and analog horror things on YouTube of dinosaurs just in horror settings. And I think this movie very much leaned on some of that, and I loved it. Those projects embrace the whole dinosaurs covered in feathers thing, so who knows? I want to see more of that in the future, as opposed to the typical Jurassic Park scaly dinosaur look. For a movie that's rated PG-13, this pushes that rating as far as it can go. I thought it was rated R when the movie ended. I straight up was like, yeah, for a rated R movie, that was pretty damn good. And there's a kill about 2/3 of the way through where a character gets their leg bitten off, and my god, it was fucking gruesome. It was insane. I could not believe they went that far, and even knowing that it's PG-13, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, you really went far with that one. I am shocked the MPAA let them do that in a movie like this. I'm not saying the movie is drowning in gore by any means. That was the most gory moment right then and there. But still, for a movie like this, with this kind of rating, I love it. I want to see more of it. I almost wish that more PG-13 movies would have some balls and show more blood. Let's go all out, guys. Come on, we're not little babies. We can handle this. What holds all of this together is a genuinely thoughtful human story, which is not something I expected walking in. Denise and Greg are a married couple already cracking under the weight of an unhappy chapter in their lives before any of this sci-fi dinosaur nonsense even starts. What I love is the movie treats that tension as seriously as it treats the dinosaurs. Audrey, the teenage daughter, dreams of studying with Carl Sagan and has her whole future mapped out somewhere far away from Oak Street. Brian, her younger brother, is stuck dealing with the mundane misery of bike thefts and neighborhood bullies. It's very 80s, but if you're 13 years old, it feels enormous. What I love is that none of it gets abandoned when the dinosaurs show up either. The bully subplot does kind of just fade away after one scene, but for the most part, it kind of drives the whole conflict of the movie even outside of the dinosaurs. I don't want to keep saying, oh, Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park did that really well, and I think this movie does it just as well. The survival scenes actually matter because I care about the characters. I didn't think I would care about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his failing marriage, but I cared a lot. I was really invested. The performances are mostly solid. Anne Hathaway is doing a phenomenal job here. Ewan McGregor is okay. I love Ewan McGregor, but here it's very obvious that his American accent is kind of slipping at points. You really hear it when he's shouting or in a panicked state. Like it's like, dude, come on. I can hear the accent slipping away. I love the guy, but that really took me out a couple times. The daughter was okay, but the son was really bad, especially early on in the movie. It just seemed like your typical child acting. I don't know, I was not impressed. And I hate ripping on child actors because it's not fair. They're in a terrible industry. And I just think of Jake Lloyd every time, I bring up a complaint towards a child actor, but he just, not a fan of this performance. I'll leave it at that. I want to be as respectful as possible. Beyond the music and some of the lackluster performances, the biggest complaint that I had was the color grading. It's boring to look at. It's so washed out and desaturated. It almost feels like it's monochromatic. The cinematography was wonderful. There were a lot of shots I was thoroughly impressed by. There's one scene in particular where the characters are sitting in the living room, all talking and strategizing and, coming up with ideas of what might be happening and why they're here. And you'd get a shot that's really over the shoulder, but because they're all sitting in a circle, it would show one character that's to the right of them and their face is right here. It's a close-up. And then in the background, you'd see the other character kind of sitting there. It was borderline something out of like a Brian De Palma movie. It was very, very interesting and out of the box. I really hope this movie does well at the box office because it feels like anytime a dinosaur movie comes out that isn't Jurassic Park, it just bombs. I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't understand it. This is a very smart, a very vicious movie, but I highly recommend it. If you're a horror buff, this is for you. There are some terrifying moments throughout. I was jumping in my seat. I was on the edge of my seat a lot of the time. It was very well made. If you love dinosaurs, obviously this is for you. I'm not surprised if the dinosaur fans out there haven't already seen this movie. And if you're just looking for a good time, then this movie might be for you. I love movies where characters are thrown into a shitty situation. Cube is a great example, where the whole time you're just wondering, why are they here? But more importantly, how are they going to get out of this? Another one that I actually thought of while watching this movie was 5 Characters in Search of an Exit, the Twilight Zone episode. This whole movie actually felt a little bit like a Twilight Zone episode. And stop watching here if you don't want to know about the ending. I'm going to go a little bit into spoilers here. I'll try to keep it a little vague, but if you want to go in pretty much blind, turn off the video now. Thank you for watching, but turn off the video.
Everyone, get out!
Okay, 3, 2, 1. As much as I loved the ending, I will say I wish it was a little bit more ominous and sinister. Maybe it's because I've been watching a ton of Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone, but I feel like with his scripts, he always had a little bit of a sinister edge to some of his endings. Not all of them, of course, but if this was an episode, it would have had a little something, a little stinger at the end that would have made you go, ooh, everything is not what it seems. And this movie kind of lacked that. It was a bit dull. The epilogue where we find out that Anne Hathaway wrote a book about their adventure, it's okay. It's sweet. It's heartfelt. I mean, after all the shit they went through, I get it. I understand wanting something a little bit lighter, but I would have appreciated something that kind of makes you go, oh, okay, I see now. Like maybe we hard cut to the past and we see that because they did the whole switcheroo thing with the time stuff, Anne Hathaway and the boy and the girl are stuck without their dad, and it's like an alternate version of that timeline, and they're getting eaten by dinosaurs, or just a little something, because she did kind of fuck over her other version of herself by getting Ewan McGregor to come deliver a pizza.
Pizza time.
I just think there was a little bit more to that should have been expanded upon, because there's a lot of interesting stuff they could have done, and instead they just kind of wrapped it up in a neat little bow, left it as is. But I want to know, what do you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you gonna see it? Are you not gonna see it? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm Cole McCormick. You are watching Firewood Media. If you loved what I had to say here, consider subscribing. Also, follow the Instagram. I'm posting a lot more over on Instagram at Firewood Media TV. Go and follow that if you want a lot more of me for some reason. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.